Welcome to week 4 of the Revenue Management in Tourism FLUFL course. As you know, my name is Kate Barini, and today I'm going to be talking about performance metrics. How can we measure performance? How can we evaluate the return that we get on those revenue management tactics that we've implemented? First of all, I'd like you to have a look at this slide and try to fill in the gaps, please. These were concepts that we talked about in previous weeks. Press pause and think about the missing word. Thank you. So, inventory is distressed when expected to remain unsold, thus generating zero revenue. Second one, revenue dilution is caused by customers buying inventory at a price much lower than their willingness to pay. And lastly, profit erosion occurs when profits from busy times have to be utilized to cover the fixed costs in our low demand periods. And these are all things we want to avoid. So revenue management is important because by having variable pricing, we can make sure that when we need customers that have a low willingness to pay, that we have products available for them so that we sell more of our inventory units. But we also want to make sure that in high demand periods that we capture customers' willingness to pay by having premium products and making sure that those lower price products are unavailable. So the core concepts of revenue management, if you remember, we had market segmentation, looking at behaviors, purchase occasions, forecasting, which we haven't really talked about in depth, but there is an online video which I will give you a link to if you wish to understand how to develop pickup forecasting, using a hotel as an example. Thirdly, we have our optimization, and then the topic for today is understanding the key metrics in business and marketing intelligence data. But before we go and talk about that, I'd like to talk a little bit more about what makes a good revenue manager. And normally we think about the revenue manager as a bit of a geeky person who sits a lot in front of the computer, has very good Excel skills. However, in reality, revenue management is all about a team of people. So the people on the front line need to be as involved as the people who are, if you like, in mid-management levels, as well as people who are in top management. So when we're thinking about performance metrics, we need to make sure that we're deploying those performance metrics that are going to enable each of the different layers of people to understand if their contribution towards the revenue management strategy is actually working. So on this slide, you'll see the results of a survey that was conducted by Jennifer Keane of Total Revenue Solutions. And here we see, I think there were 100 respondents, and these were their answers related to what are the two most important skills of a revenue manager. So we can see that there were 39 responses that chose attention to detail. And the second most popular response, we see we have 28, presentation and communication skills, interestingly. What do we also have? We can see numerical skills, which is what we're going to be focusing on today, and negotiation skills. So some interesting views on the most important skills a revenue manager needs. So it's about people, and it's about balancing, trying to, of course, maximize the revenue that we generate. So we normally hear about this attention to detail, the numerical skills, as we said, all of those things that you see on this slide. However, in reality, we also did a study, and we found out that oftentimes it's the soft skills that are overlooked. So relationship skills, negotiation skills, creative thinking is also a very important revenue management ability, because we have to, of course, if we have a lot of prices, we have to think about lots of products. And in order to create a range of products, we need to be quite creative. So what you see on this slide are levels of revenue manager, because actually today it's not a position, it's, maybe up to 10 different positions. So here we can see we have the unit level, the person who is the responsible person for one unit, one business unit, maximizing the revenue in one business unit. Then we have the cluster level, the regional level, the country level, the European-wide level. Then we have people who are today the Director of Revenue Management for Asia, Europe, Middle East and Africa. Massive number of businesses. Then we have Vice Presidents and Senior Vice Presidents of Revenue Management today. So thinking about all of those skills that we mentioned before, clearly the types of skills that a person needs if they're in revenue management will depend upon the level at which they're sitting. So clearly those soft skills become more important as we are higher up the revenue management career ladder. So we also can think about the challenges in terms of implementing a revenue culture. A revenue culture, we said revenue management effectiveness is about having a team of people involved. So therefore we need to have everybody understanding what revenue management is, working towards revenue management goals. So basically this is what we call a revenue management culture. So on this slide we can see in the same survey conducted by Jennifer Keane, we can see the biggest barriers to creating a revenue driving culture are buy-in from the top of the organization. That's a small, if you like, element. The biggest element is training and development. So, hopefully courses like this one that you're following are going to help people better understand what revenue management is all about in order to then embrace the revenue culture. Secondly, we see a lack of revenue management focus in non-rooms area of the business. Now, of course, this questionnaire was based on hotels. So in tourism, we can think about it as non-core business. So in a ski resort, the core business might be selling ski passes. So in this case, we would say a lack of revenue focus on the ski pass area of the business. So we've got to think about not just maximizing the sales of our core products, but also maximizing the sales of our ancillary products. So again, the revenue management performance metrics need to also be measuring ancillary sales, not just core revenue. Here's a very busy slide, and this again is related to the same survey. And the question was, rank the following business in terms of missed revenue opportunities within your business, again focused on hotels. On this slide we can see an overlap between operations, sales and marketing, finance and revenue management, and indeed one of the big problems is finding common ground, a common language, common performance metrics, which means that all of the departments are together evaluating the revenue management performance metrics. Unfortunately, very often today we have finance working on their own performance measures. Did we meet the budget? Did we achieve our cost goals? We have sales and marketing, maybe looking at measuring loyalty, and operations might be looking at just maximizing sales and achieving their own budgets. So again, we need everybody to be working together to achieve those revenue management goals. And we need to have performance measures that, of course, allow that to happen. So just a reminder about segmentation. So we said we use behavioral segmentation. So we want to be understanding why customers buy, when they buy, what they buy, and how they buy. And therefore we also need performance measures linked to those behaviors so that we can understand the trends. Here is an example about how we can segment different purchase occasions. We have a hot air balloon ride. Sorry about the mistake, spelling error in balloon. Of course, there should be 2 L's in balloon. On the left, we see a wedding product where, of course, the reservation is made far in advance. It's a special occasion. It's a one-off occasion. They want something very, very personalized. On the other hand, we sell a balloon ride at a flash sale. So it may be a group of strangers that are sharing the experience, and there's not such a level of personalization required. So just an example of 2 different types of purchase occasion. Anyway, let's go back to the topic of the week, revenue management metrics. And here on the slide, you'll see the objectives of the week. So at the end of this session, you should be able to explain the calculations. You should be able to discuss concepts, definitions, best practices in terms of trying to achieve the most profitable market mix, and you should be able to explain how understanding trends and patterns improve revenue.